Leapers, welcome back to the Quantum Leap podcast. I'm Serenity, and here today I have Christopher D. Philippus.
Hi, I'm here too. Hi.
And today we are going to interview Wyatt Parker.
Hi, Wyatt.
Hey,
Hello.
What's up?
Welcome to the Quantum Leap podcast, sir.
Thank you.
So Wyatt Parker here played Jeffrey from season 2, episode 12 and 13. Wyatt, how did you really get started in the acting business?
Well, when I was very young, I was about 5 years old, and I really wanted to, do something cool. And my friend was an actor, and then we figured out what acting school he goes to. So then my mom signed me up for classes at this acting school called Creating You in Southern Louisiana. That's where we were at the time, and I went there, and I had a bunch of fun, started booking my first roles after, a year of working and practicing my acting skills, and then eventually booked more and more stuff, and just loved it ever since, having a great time.
Nice.
What was your first roles? What kind of roles did you get when you started to book stuff after you were in the school and you were learning your craft?
Yeah, I did like one background part. My mom wanted to see how I acted on set, and then I guess she thought I did well because she let me keep going on, and then from there I booked a small, I think it was a co-star role, a very small one, and then from there booked a guest star, and then kept going up in the world, and hopefully one day I can get a nice lead.
So your mom had good instincts, is what you're saying.
Yes.
How was your time working on Quantum Leap?
I had a great time. It was really nice. Went to California, filming there on the back lots, and everyone was super nice. Raymond and Caitlin were very nice. Very fun to work with them. The directors were awesome. I got to jump out of a building and see flames and stuff. That was my first time being in a harness for on set, and I typically do my own stunts, but this was the first time I was actually able to get into a harness and jump from stuff, and it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. Glad I could be able to get on Quantum Leap.
So tell us, how did you get the role on Quantum Leap? Because it's a very big part for the finale for the second season. You're in 2 episodes. And tell us what the process was like to be able to go and audition to play Jeffrey, and how you knew that you got the part.
Yeah, so basically, I have an agent, and, well, I have 2 agents, and I have a manager, and so, they find all the roles and send them to me and stuff, and one of them sent me the role for, young Jeffrey, and there was another person I was trying out for as well in the same audition from a previous episode. I guess they were just trying to see my skills, so they put that in the audition, and I did my best, worked on it for like an hour, and then sent it in through whatever program we used. And then eventually my manager called and was like, "Hey, you booked the part." And I was like, "Wow, that's crazy. I didn't even have to get a callback or anything. Just booked it. It was awesome."
Wow. I guess that's rare, huh?
Very rare for me. Yeah, if I ever book anything that's sort of big or whatever, it's typically a few rounds of callbacks and then chemistry reads and, fly out and meet him in person and stuff. So I was very thankful I only had to do one of the processes to be able to come on the show. And I was like, wow, just an audition. Works for me.
How's your time working on Five Nights at Freddy's?
Yeah, that was really fun. It actually filmed about 5 minutes away from my house in Covington, Louisiana. So we just went out there, and it was a great time. Everyone was super nice and had a great time as well.
Nice.
So can you explain to us what was Five Nights at Freddy's? Is that a movie, or for the people out there like me who are not familiar with it?
Yeah, so basically, Five Nights at Freddy's was a video game a long time ago. Not that long ago, probably like, I don't want to say exactly, but I think like 5 to 10 years ago they came out with this video game, and it got very, very popular. And a lot of people who were like 20 and 30 now really like it a lot, and they went to production for a movie, as far as I know, and now it's like a really big movie, and it was, it was fun to film, and it's kind of about these animatronics that I guess haunt you, and it's a horror film, I
Okay.
guess you could say. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
How is that different than working on, say, Quantum Leap? I have so many questions about your time on Quantum because you had the 2 episodes. So I have some very specific stuff. But is working on a feature like that different than working in TV?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say the mood around everything is definitely different. Two different types of shows or types of projects, And for me, the actual like filming from scene to scene to scene is pretty close to the same between, a episodic and a actual movie. But the different like ways, because the horror film of Five Nights at Freddy's is definitely very different from the adventure of Quantum Leap. So you have to get into a different mindset before you film on either one, Like I had to be scared and worried on the Five Nights at Freddy's, kind of like a loss of my brother, but then I was also scared on Quantum Leap because I was about to jump out of a building and I was like, holy crap, I'm about to fall all the way down here. Like, but it's different, It's slightly different.
How is it working with Josh Hutchinson?
Well, he's actually a very nice guy, very great actor. Uh, I mean, no offense, but very short guy. I've seen a lot of his movies as he was like a young actor, and it's really cool to see him come from a small actor to a big actor, and he was very nice to work with, and you could tell he takes it very seriously.
I'll try not to take offense as a short guy. A fellow short guy. I'm a short guy out there too.
I'm very short as well for my age.
So Wyatt, tell us, you were on 2 episodes of Quantum Leap. Were they 2 different shoots where you called in for 1 episode, you finished that, then you did the other? Or was it more of a continuous process since the episodes were going to air back to back?
Right, so actually it was pretty continuous. We pretty much filmed one episode for, I'm trying to think how long. I think it's like 8 days of actual filming, and it's the course of like 2 weeks, and then you have that weekend off, and then on Monday we started filming the next episode, so it was kind of a continuous thing. So yeah, definitely very different costumes and everything, because you're coming from a fireman to a race car driver. At least for Raymond, he had to change a lot. But yeah, it's pretty continuous.
Cool.
How is it working with Raymond Lee, Caitlin Bassett, and Eliza Taylor?
Yeah, so those folks are actually very nice. It was really fun to work with them. Eliza was my mother, so I was hanging out, standing next to her, hanging out with her a lot. She's very funny, and it's really cool to see her switch from her Australian accent to her American accent. It's really cool. She's very nice, and so is Caitlin. She's also very nice. And Raymond is very funny. He was always doing goofy things on set. There was a prop skateboard, and that was not for actually riding or anything. It was just in the background of a garage, and he picked it up and was riding it down the street, and everyone was so worried about it. And he's just funny. He invited a boba truck on set, and so we all got boba. So yeah, they were all very funny and nice. A really good community to be around, for sure.
You had a lot of heavy scenes with Raymond, and you were playing angry a lot of the time. And
Right.
I'm just curious to know, when you were getting the role and you had to figure out how you were going to play Jeffrey, I mean, there are scenes where you have a lot to do, like you're carrying the scene. So, how did you prepare for that? Being up against somebody like Raymond Lee, who is the lead of the series, where you have to go toe to toe with him, I imagine that is maybe a little bit daunting.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's pretty hard to bring yourself there to that point, and it almost flips your mood. You could be having a great day, and then you have to play that role, and then afterwards you're just kind of like that was intense. And Raymond's a very, very good actor, and his techniques are awesome. He can get very mad, and he can get sad, and he has very good range of emotion that he can play. That's very incredible. So I've done a lot of work with this, and I have my ways to get into character. You know, I just take a minute and try and bring myself there and really try and be Jeffrey. Really try and think, what if I think that this man killed my dad, and I don't even know if he did or not yet, you know, because there's different scenes where I was mad with him, and you just have to bring yourself there. You have to become the character, and me and Raymond connected very well, and going head to head with him, we kind of feed off of each other, in my opinion. So if like he's upset, it makes me more upset because I'm like right there with him, face to face, doing it. So I think it was pretty fun. I enjoy doing it, but it's definitely hard to get into that character.
Yeah, I bet it was good, and you were very good in the role. We saw both
Yeah.
episodes, and
Awesome.
you really sold it. You were very very good in both. So
Thank you.
congratulations, honestly, on two really good episodes.
Thank you.
Did you work with James Frain, who played Gideon?
Oh no, I actually did not get to see him. But the dad who plays my dad, I did get to work with him, but I didn't get to work with the older version of me who calls himself Gideon. I did
Gotcha.
not get to see him.
So when you worked with Josh, because when we saw Josh in the flashback and in the episode that he had, there was another actor playing Jeffrey as a younger boy. So
Right.
how did you interact with Joshua in your shoot?
Yeah, so basically we had to do, you know, little photos on the wall and of like past memories of, you know, I guess growing up and stuff. And we did some photos. He's a really nice actor. Really cool to see him. And he kind of looks like my dad a little bit, which is kind of funny. So yeah, it was pretty cool to meet him.
Neat. So I think we're all curious to know because you had some really great set pieces in this. You were talking about the fire and having to do the stunts and being on a wire. So can you take us through that shooting day where you had to do all of that action that was set on the ledge when you had to jump into Raymond's arms? And can you tell us how all of that was set up? Was that on a set, like on a sound stage, and what was it like to film those scenes?
So in the back lots of Universal Studios, there's individual studios and then there's some places where you can work outside. So they basically built it was 2 stories of this building, and they had the ledge and it looked beautiful from the front side, and then from the back side it was just like stairs getting up there and stuff. And it was just out with some pads out in front of it, and they had a crane that came up to the set, and there's a little window, and I was sticking my head out, and then they had a harness on me to make sure I didn't fall all the way, and then for another part I was outside and they lifted me up with the crane, and then I just fell from here into Raymond's arm and Thomas's arm, which is Raymond's stunt double. And so it was kind of cool how they blocked it out with the crane and stuff. And with the fire and stuff, that was on a different day inside of a soundstage for in the apartment. So as you know, the TV caught on fire, and then they had the sparkers go off, and it was really cool to see them set it up. They put like rubber cement on the TV, and they had these little sparker things that they put in the circuit board, and I was not expecting sparkers to be that big as they were, so that was a real shock right there. And it was pretty cool. It smoked up the building a lot, so we had to exit real fast and ventilate. and it was awesome the way that they did it, and I'm excited to see it. So yeah.
It comes across very effectively on screen. And I'm just wondering, when you're doing that ledge scene, how high actually are you off the ground? Was it very high or just
Right, so part of it was inside of a studio, and the ledge was just right on the floor, and that was when they filmed Raymond coming out, and I was peeking over the edge. And then I was peeking over the edge again, except they were like down, looking up at me, peeking over the edge, and it was probably about 20 feet up. It was like two
wow?
stories. And then there was mats that were like 3 feet thick. If anyone fell, which is not possible because I was harnessed and well taken care of, there's like a harness underneath all of my clothes, and there was a little hook back here they hooked it to. So I couldn't fall out, but if I did, I would have been perfectly fine. And I'm not afraid of heights that much, but maybe if it was a lot higher, I would actually be afraid to be up there. But I was comfortable with it all.
Yeah, even with a harness, I think I'd be a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, the harness isn't that comfortable to be dangling from because it kind of squeezes your ribs really hard, and it's just like kind of uncomfortable, and then you fall. Yeah, it was
Cool.
cool.
Did you have a stunt double?
I did. It was I forgot her name, but she wore a wig just like me, wore the same clothes, and it was a very short woman. It was really funny to see her. She did the part where she actually jumped from the ledge, and then it switches to me being caught by Raymond. So it's me peeking out, and then she jumps, and then it's me falling into Raymond's arms. So it's kind of cool to see. I can tell when I look at it, but I'm sure no one else can.
Now we're going to look for it.
Right. Not to ruin it or anything.
When you were doing those days, what was the prep like? Did you have to train to wear the harness, to know the safety protocols? Because it seems like you're working not only with heights but also with fire. So, first, had you ever done anything like that before? And second, what special preparation did they make you go through so that they would ensure that you were safe?
Right, yeah. So basically, a day before we actually went to shoot anything, they had us out there. There wasn't a camera, and they just had the crane out there, and they had me harnessed up in my regular clothes. And then we ran through everything I was going to be doing and a little bit more just in case. They made sure that, like, if this happens, do this to stay safe, and let us know this if this happens. And we went through all that. And I've done my own stunts before. Like, there was a shoot. It should come out soon. It's called Davy Crockett. It's the Ballad of Davy Crockett. And basically, I was John Crockett, which is Davy Crockett's son. And it was filmed a long time ago, and I got to shoot a gun, and there was a fire, and I had to throw a pelt on it and stuff, and it was smoking out, so I'm used to having to evacuate for that kind of stuff out of the building. And there's also shooting the gun, but I've never done anything where there's like fire and I'm jumping out of something. So that was very cool to see. But hopefully I get to do more scenes like that later on in my career. I love doing my own stunts.
Was that the biggest stunt you've ever done?
I'd probably say so. Yeah. But I do a bunch of extreme sports, so it wasn't like anything too crazy. Like, I jump off of ledges into water and ride dirt bikes and do all that crazy stuff. So it wasn't anything like crazy, but it's probably the most I've ever done for a camera.
Gotcha. Cool.
How is it being in the race car and being on a racetrack?
Yeah, it was really cool. So it's a real racetrack. It's actually very popular for shooting stuff. And it's not like super big, but it still has like the tilt of a racetrack. And they had a full blown race car, and we were driving the big old family car on it. And it was really cool to be around that environment with all the race cars and all the background guys in NASCAR suits. It was pretty cool to see.
Was that all that? I'm assuming all of this was in Los Angeles, close to the studio.
Yes, this was about, I think, 20 or 30 minute drive from Universal Studios.
So we've been asking you about a lot of stuff, but like, are there other experiences that you had on set that you want to tell us about? Because it just seemed like you were doing so much in the course of the 2 episodes. I'm sure we're missing some stuff. Is there anything else, any stories from the set that you want to tell the listeners about?
So, as I said before, they have the building that was fake and it was 2 stories tall, and there was the ledge, but it was designed off of a building that's actually probably like 50 to 100 feet tall that they have in the studios. And at the bottom, when I'm like, "Oh, mom," and she comes out or she goes into the ambulance, and I'm like, "Oh, mom, I can't believe you're here," and I have the letter in my pocket. That's all, I guess, real-ish buildings, and those ones are actually very tall, and they had all the firefighters working, and they were spraying water everywhere, and everything was soaking wet. That was pretty cool. And also the second AD that, directs me around for my trailer, because the trailers are right outside of the studio. So, he kind of tells you where to park and what to do, this and that. But anyways, he taught me how to surf while I was out there too on the weekends. So he's
Really?
like, "Hey man, you want to surf?" And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I've always wanted to learn how to surf." So he literally taught me how to surf on one of the weekends, and then we kept doing it every single weekend of the shoot. And that was one of my favorite parts. That was pretty cool. I wouldn't have expected it at all, but he was like, "Yeah, you want to go surfing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it." And he's like, "Show up tomorrow morning." I'm like, "Okay, will do." And um, Crafty on set, because I love snacks. Crafty on set was very awesome. They always had like full-size candy bars, and they had a bunch of pre-made snacks. They had chocolate dipped fruit, and they had like a full kitchen in there, and they had like ramen and espresso machine and all the drinks you could ever want. And that was also pretty cool. Everyone on set was just so nice. It was such a good time.
So it's all explosions, surfing, and candy bars, huh?
Basically, that's pretty much it.
That's really cool. You must have some pretty good balance. I couldn't surf if I tried, so good on you. You learned it in a weekend, huh?
Right. Yeah, it was pretty cool to see all the vintage cars and stuff, because they're all real ambulances and stuff, and they all have like, real wear and tear, so it's kind of cool to see all that. There's like a phone booth on set as well that was pretty authentic and old. I took some photos in that. And yeah, it was really cool to see the fire trucks as well, and the race car, and you know, I mean, I've never been around a time where those cars were actually like it, because I'm too young. So it's kind of cool to see those cars. Like, dang, this is what they had 50 years ago. That's cool.
As someone who was there, it was all right.
Right. That's funny.
Do you have any coming up projects that we should be looking out for?
So, pretty much all that's coming out that I can probably say is the Ballad of Davy Crockett movie that's coming out. I'm not very sure when it's going to come out, but that one's going to be coming out soon. And I have a few other projects, but I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say them or not, but just look out for me. Go to my IMBD in a few months and you might see some stuff.
Cool.
Cool.
I know that we've been talking about a lot of stuff, but were there any aspects of being on the set of Quantum Leap that we haven't asked you about that you would like to share with the Leapers that are listening? Or any messages for the Leapers?
I mean, we definitely filmed a lot, and it was a lot of like strong scenes for emotion that really took some time to get through, because we were trying to build up the emotion and get crazy and rowdy and try and be as, emotional as possible. Well, and we were doing all the emotional scenes, or we were doing, the crazy explosion scenes, or, a telephone scene, or that one skeptical scene I had at the bottom of the building where I was looking and I was like, who is this guy, you know?
Mhm.
We did a lot of those scenes, and those definitely took some time, and it was either that or action. It was a very packed thing, is well planned. Every day we had something to do. We had like a few scenes to film, and whoever plans everything out, they did a great job. And I think Quantum Leap's a great show. The directors and the producers and everyone behind it is very awesome. And I'm so glad I had the opportunity to work on it, for sure.
I have one more question. I know it might be a little bit more detailed. Does anyone mind if I ask it?
Oh yeah, please do.
We're good. Okay. Well, since you were on 2 different episodes, you were working with 2 different directors, and
Correct.
you had different feels to the character in each episode. Was the direction for the part of Jeffrey constant between episodes, or did one director ask you to approach it one way while another director asked you to do it a different way? How did that all come together?
Yeah, so they were definitely different characters, you know, because it was 2 years apart, although I may not have looked 2 years older because it was actually filmed 3 days apart from each other. So there were definitely different emotions for everything. You know, younger Jeffrey was kind of more sad and confused, and this is the first time he's been around it. But in the next episode, in number 13, it's kind of affected his whole life. You know, he's always had that thought in the back of his head of this man killing his father and trying to put all the pieces together, and he's just kind of so annoyed and never wants to see Ben ever again. And I really tried to portray that as much as I could. And I haven't seen the episodes yet, but hopefully I get to see them soon, and I get to see how it comes out. But they're supposed to be very different.
They did come out different. They were subtly different, though. So I just wanted to
Right.
congratulate you on that, because it did seem like you were playing 2 different characters, but there
Right.
was like a continuous feel to the character.
Right, because it's still the same kid,
Yeah.
but he's just changed over the course of 2 years.
Mhm.
So I tried to prepare for that as much as I could. And yeah, my voice wasn't deeper and I wasn't taller at all, but I tried to act a little bit different.
Well, I think you did a good job.
Thank you.
Well, Wyatt, you have been so generous with your time. It's so neat to talk to you about this stuff, because I had so many questions doing the 2 episodes and the way you had to approach the character. Thanks for giving us the insight into the process and just working on the set. It must have been like the thrill of a lifetime. Do you have any parting words for the Leapers out there who might be listening?
Yeah. You know, stay stoked. Hopefully we get another season soon. That'll be awesome if the writers could write me back in. Not saying that they have to, but it would be cool. I'm excited to see the next season, and go and watch the show if you haven't already. And thanks for having me here, guys.
Thank you, Wyatt, and thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for spending some time with us here on the Quantum Leap podcast.
Of course, I had a great time.